There's this thing called the social credit score in China. They're sort of explicitly saying, here's the deal, citizens of China. We're tracking you. You have a social credit score. Whatever you say about the Communist Party will affect your score. Also, by the way, it will affect your friends and your family's scores. And it's explicit. The government is building this, is basically saying, you should know you're being tracked and you should behave accordingly. It's like algorithmic obedience training.
我自己就生活中很多现在也用了人脸识别系统，像我去逛超市，还有我们小区里的门禁、火车站，现在你只要就进行人脸识别，我觉得很方便。这样整个社会的一个信用机制，我是觉得提高整体人的素质吧。今天坐高铁的时候，然后高铁上就一直在广播说，失信人员他会被限制坐高铁或者是飞机啊这些交通工具。信用机制还有人脸识别其实是相辅相成的，你会想要去好好经营的，因为你这张脸就代表了你这个人的信用。如果说我去打算交一个新朋友，他的信用度很高，我会更愿意去相信这个朋友。现在我们就可以直接根据这个人的信用分选择相信他，不凭任何我自己的感觉去猜想你这个人。这省去了我去了解这个人，我觉得这点蛮好。
We look at China and China's surveillance and scoring system, and a lot of people say, well, thank goodness we don't live there. In reality, we're all being scored all the time, including here in the United States. We are all grappling every day with algorithmic determinism. Somebody's algorithm somewhere has assigned you a score, and as a result, you are paying more or less money for toilet paper when you shop online. You are being shown better or worse mortgages. You are more or less likely to be profiled as a criminal in somebody's database somewhere. We are all being scored. The key difference between the United States and in China is that China's transparent about it.
This young black kid in school uniform got stopped as a result of a match. Took him down that street just to one side, like very thoroughly searched him. It was all plainclothes officers as well. It was 4 plainclothes officers who stopped him. Fingerprinted him. After about maybe 10, 15 minutes of searching and checking his details and fingerprinting him, they came back and said it's not him. Excuse me, mate. I work for a human rights campaigning organisation. We're campaigning against facial recognition technology. We're campaigning against facial. We're called Big Brother Watch. We're a human rights campaigning organisation. We're campaigning against this technology here today. And then you've just been stopped because of that, but they misidentified you. These were our details. He was a bit shaken, his friends were there, they couldn't believe what had happened to them. You've been misidentified by their systems, and they've stopped you and used that as justification to stop and search you. But this is an innocent young 14-year-old child who's been stopped by the police as a result of a facial recognition misidentification.
So, Big Brother Watch has joined with Baroness Jenny Jones to bring a legal challenge against the Metropolitan Police and the Home Office for their use of facial recognition surveillance.
It was in about 2012 when somebody suggested to me that I should find out if I had files kept on me by the police or the security services. And so when I applied, I found that I was on the watch list for domestic extremists. I felt if they can do it to me, when I'm a politician whose job is to hold them to account, they could be doing it to everybody. And it would be great if we can roll things back and stop the Met from using this. I think that's going to be quite a challenge. I'm happy to try.
You know, this is the first challenge against police use of facial recognition anywhere. But if we're successful, it will have an impact for the rest of Europe, maybe further afield. So we've got to get it right.
In the UK, we have what's called GDPR, and it sets up a bulwark against the misuse of information. It says that the individuals have a right to access, control, and accountability to determine how their data is used. Comparatively, it's the Wild West in America. And the concern is that America is the home of these technology companies. American citizens are profiled and targeted in a way that probably no one else in the world is because of this free-for-all approach to data protection.
The thing I actually fear is not that we're going to go down this totalitarian 1984 model, but that we're going to go down this quiet model where we are surveilled and socially controlled and individually nudged and measured and classified in a way that we don't see to move us along paths desired by power. So it's not what will AI do to us on its own, it's what will the powerful do to us with the AI.
There are growing questions about the accuracy of Amazon's facial recognition software. In a letter to Amazon, members of Congress raised concerns of potential racial bias with the technology.
This comes after the ACLU conducted a test and found that the facial recognition software incorrectly matched 28 lawmakers with mugshots of people who've been arrested, and 11 of those 28 were people of color. Some lawmakers have looked into whether or not Amazon could sell this technology to law enforcement.
Attention, please. This is a boarding call for Amtrak Northeast Regional train stopping at Washington Union Station.
Tomorrow, I have the opportunity to testify before Congress about the use of facial analysis technology by the government. In March, I came to do some staff briefings, not in this kind of context. Like actually advising on legislation, that's a first. We're going to Capitol Hill. What are some of the major goals and also some of the challenges we need to think about?
So first of all, the issue with law enforcement use of technology is that the positive is always extraordinarily salient because law enforcement publicizes it.
Right.
And so, we're going to go into the meeting, and 2 weeks ago, the Annapolis shooter was identified through the use of face recognition.
Right.
And I'd be surprised if that doesn't come up.
Absolutely.
So part of, if I were you, what I would want to drive home going into this meeting is the other side of that equation. And making it very real as to what the human costs with the problems that you've identified aren't remedied.
people who have been marginalized will be further marginalized if we're not looking at ways of making sure the technology we're creating doesn't propagate bias. That's when I started to realize algorithmic justice, making sure there's oversight in the age of automation, is one of the largest civil rights concerns we have.
We need an FDA for algorithms. So for algorithms that have the potential to ruin people's lives or sharply reduce their options with their liberty, their livelihood, or their finances, we need an FDA for algorithms that says, hey, show me evidence that it's going to work, not just to make you money, but it's going to work for society. That it's going to be fair, that it's not going to be racist, that's not going to be sexist, it's not going to discriminate against people with disability status. Show me that it's legal before you put it out. That's what we don't have yet.
Well, I'm here because I wanted to hear the congressional testimony of my friend Joy Buolamwini, as well as the ACLU and others. One cool thing about seeing Joy speak to Congress is that, like, I met Joy on my book tour at Harvard Bookstore. And according to her, that was the day that she decided to form the Algorithmic Justice League. We haven't gotten to the nuanced conversation yet. And I know it's going to happen because I know Joy is going to make it happen. At every single level, bad algorithms are begging to be given rules.
Hey, how are you doing?
Want to sneak in with me?
Yes, if that does it. 2155.
I've been in this before. It's impossible. Yes.
Today we are having our first hearing of this Congress on the use of facial recognition technology. Please stand and raise your right hand, and I will now swear you in.
I've had to resort to literally wearing a white mask. Given such accuracy disparities, I wondered how large tech companies could have missed these issues. The harvesting of face data also requires guidelines and oversight. No one should be forced to submit their face data to access widely used platforms, economic opportunity, or basic services. Tenants in Brooklyn are protesting the installation of an unnecessary face recognition entry system. There's a Big Brother Watch UK report that came out that showed more than 2,400 innocent people had their faces misidentified. Our faces may well be the final frontier of privacy, but regulations make a difference. Congress must act now to uphold American freedoms and rights.
Ms. Buolamwini, I heard your opening statement, and we saw that these algorithms are effective to different degrees. So are they most effective on women?
No.
Are they most effective on people of color?
Absolutely not.
Are they most effective on people of different gender expressions?
No, in fact, they exclude them.
So what demographic is it mostly effective on?
White men.
And who are the primary engineers and designers of these algorithms?
Definitely white men.
So we have a technology that was created and designed by one demographic that is only mostly effective on that one demographic, and they're trying to sell it and impose it on the entirety of the country.
When it comes to face recognition, the FBI has not fully tested the accuracy of the systems it uses. Yet the agency is now reportedly piloting Amazon's face recognition product.
How does the FBI get the initial database in the first place?
So one of the things they do is they use state driver's license databases. I think, up to 18 states have been reportedly used by the FBI. It is being used without a warrant and without other protections.
Seems to me it's time for a timeout. I guess what troubles me too is just the fact that no one in an elected position made a decision on the fact that these 18 states, I think the chairman said this is more than half the population of the country. That is scary.
China seems to me to be the dystopian path that needs not be taken at this point by our society.
More than China, Facebook has 2.6 billion people. So Facebook has a patent where they say, because we have all of these face prints, we can now give you an option as a retailer to identify somebody who walks into the store. And in their patent, they say we can also give that face a trustworthiness score. So
and Facebook is telling this now?
This is a patent that they filed, as in something that they could potentially do with the capabilities they have. So as we're talking about state surveillance, we absolutely have to be thinking about corporate surveillance as well.
I'm speechless, and normally I'm not speechless.
Really?
Yeah. All of our hard work to know that it's gone this far, it's beyond belief. We never imagined that it would go this far. I'm really touched. I'm really touched.
You got me smiling.
I want to show it to my mother.
It's good. In 1983, Stanislav Petrov, who was in the Russian military, sees these indications that US has launched nuclear weapons at the Soviet Union. So if you're going to respond, you have like this very short window. He just sits on it. He doesn't inform anyone. Russia's the Soviet Union, his country, his family, everything about him is about to die, and he's thinking, well, at least we don't go kill them all either. That's a very human thing. Here you have a story in which if you had some sort of automated response system, it was going to do what it was programmed to do, which was retaliate. Being fully efficient, always doing what you're told, always doing what you're programmed is not always the most human thing. Sometimes it's disobeying. Sometimes it's saying, no, I'm not going to do this, right? And if you automate everything, so it always does what it's supposed to do, sometimes that can lead to very inhuman things.